Yeah, you smell that? That's death.
What the hell is this place?
This is what's left of Kong's parents.
I've taken enough photos of mass graves to recognize one.
The crash site's just on the other side of this valley. We'll cross through and make it to the highest point west.
This place is a real no-no, sir.
We need to be going to the north side right now.
And you welcome to do that, my man. By yourself.
And that was a clip from Kong Skull Island. I'm delighted to say Brie Larson, one of the movie stars, is with us. Brie, hello, how are you?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
I still just can't believe people call me a movie star.
Really? Why?
Doesn't that sound like rather larger than life? I'm just a person.
I've just seen you in a movie which was pretty larger than life, so...
That's true.
I saw you at the Oscars, so that kind of makes you a movie star. And I saw you last year and you won an Oscar, so by every single definition, if you've won an Oscar, that kind of... Are you still really not used to it?
No, still not. And I think it's going to take a while. Like, I had a very weird... that whole evening, the Oscars evening, was very surreal. But one thing that kind of sticks out as being a very surreal but clear moment was being backstage about to do the little press conference thing. And I was holding the Oscar, and I guess I just sounded like a broken record. I kept saying, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. And then, like, I heard out of nowhere, like from the shadows, this like cool voice that said, give it 5 years. And it was Benicio del Toro. I don't know why he was standing there, and he was like leaning very cool up against a wall, but it really stuck out for me. And I felt like it gave me permission that I have 5 years, and who knows, maybe longer, to really think about it and figure out what it means for me.
So if we come back to you in, say, 3 years, then you'll kind of go, yeah, I'm a movie star.
Maybe. I don't know if I'll ever get fully used to that title. I've been in my body with myself the whole time. I know who I am. I sit on a couch and eat chips. I'm not, the rest of it is like a fun persona to play, but we're all human.
Okay.
But it's cool to be called a movie star. I've wanted to be an actor since I was a kid.
Well, this is like the most sort of, it is a big movie star role, isn't it? You're in a Kong movie. So tell us about Mason Weaver and and indeed what you can tell us about Skull Island without spoiling stuff.
Okay, sure. So my character's name is Mason Weaver. Very cool name, I think. She's a self-proclaimed anti-war photographer. The film takes place in 1973, surrounding the Vietnam War, which has just kind of come to an end. And she's looking for her next subject. She's kind of created a bit of people kind of know her as being a bit of a troublemaker because she's not afraid to risk her life in order to get a good shot. And sometimes that shot isn't always putting this war in the best light. So she sneaks on to this mission, mostly because her name sounds like a boy's name, and is able to get on this boat. And very quickly they're like, oh no, not this girl. Because she thinks that there's some sort of government secret thing happening, and she wants to uncover it. And of course, she has no idea, could have never imagined that giant thing that they're trying to cover up is actually just a King Kong.
Really? Okay. So that's the giant thing, but it's so much more than Kong, isn't it? It's not just.
Right. Well, then they arrive on this island, and there's a whole lot of creatures that they've never seen before, which is what I think makes the movie so fun, is because anytime you see a movie in the theater, I feel like the concept, when it's at its best, is you're transported into another world, and this time you really are transported into another world with rules that you don't know what they are until they're there. Suddenly these people are back in the food chain, and you have an army section of this, and then you have a group of scientists, and you have a group of conspiracy theorists, and you have an SAS tracker, and you have an anti-war photographer, and they all have very different ideas as to how we should go about surviving in this new atmosphere.
Do you have any sense when you're making this film what it's going to look like finally? Because so much of it clearly is, as these monsters don't really exist, I'm guessing, because so much is added on, and so much of it is reaction shots from you and running away and people being injured and so on. Who gives you that sense of what it's going to be looking like? Or is it just in your imagination?
A lot of it's in your imagination, but I lucked out with this because it was in real location. So at the very least, I knew what the plant life looked like around me. We shot in Hawaii, Australia, Vietnam. So it wasn't all green screen. I think we were only on a soundstage for like a week or two out of the whole 6-month shoot, which is quite remarkable for a film like this. But when it comes to reacting to monsters or doing a scene where you're running from one, that's kind of a unique situation that you don't really know how intense you're supposed to be reacting to something like that. And you're kind of trusting that in the end, as you're making all these scared faces, that the CGI people really are going to put something that's scary there and not make you look like a fool. And it's going to be, you know, like a giant fluffy bunny rabbit. And suddenly you look scared of something that you wish you weren't looking scared of.
I think I'm right in saying in the chronology of this that while you were making this movie, we had Lenny Abrahamson on the show and we were talking about Room. And I was thinking it's hard to imagine two more contrasting movie experience in the world of the movie star, which you are, but from the intensity of making that movie to going off on this extraordinary adventure on 3 continents.
It's true, quite simply from a small room to a very large open space. And as we were making this film, I was doing award season stuff on the weekends. So it was a very bizarre period of time because during the week, I was covered in dirt and mud and dirt under my fingernails and covered in fake blood, climbing mountains and jumping off of things and sliding under things. And then Friday night, I'd get dropped off back at the hotel. I'd grab my little rolly suitcase and I'd be on a plane, fly overnight. Saturday morning, I'd show up with like a rack of gowns in front of me and have to find something to wear. I'd go to an award show and just be blown away by like how I ended up here. And then Sunday, fly back. And by Monday, I was back in the mud again.
Because Lenny Abrahamson said on the show that he was looking for someone who could be entirely natural, who wouldn't give a performance in inverted commas, and who wouldn't disappear off to the trailer and would stay on set. And ever since that interview, he was thinking, we got to get you on the show.
Oh, thank you.
You know, because it was clearly such an extraordinary that film. Whatever you do in the future, however many great movies you make, that film will still really be part of your persona. Really.
Oh, wow.
Don't you think?
You know, I don't know that much about my persona, but...
Or the way you are perceived, the way we look at
Right.
you, we will think of Ma and we'll think of that astonishing film.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm still blown away by how many people that film impacted, and I'm incredibly proud of it. I think it's incredible what Lenny was able to do with that film. Obviously, an incredibly difficult and sensitive subject matter that I think he was able to kind of find a way with such a light hand and make it a metaphor for so many people.
You've written and directed before, but you have your first feature coming up, which is Unicorn Store. And Samuel L. Jackson, who is also as part of Kong Island, is in that. Did you know him beforehand? Did you use your time together to say, I'm doing this feature, how do you fancy it, Sam? I'm a movie star. Come on, you know me. I got an Oscar. Well,
it was after we had finished making Kong that, while we were shooting Kong, actually, was when I was working on the script. I didn't write the screenplay. A really talented woman named Samantha McIntyre did, but I was helping with some of the tune-ups. And I would
what does that mean?
Oh, like rewrites and kind of moving things around, shaving things down. Like, she had created this whole world, but I was just, you know, I think doing what a director does and kind of clarifying the vision based upon like what I saw in my head. But I was doing that while I was shooting Kong as well. So I'd be in the middle of nowhere sitting on a log. So when I watch the movie now, I kind of remember it as sitting there with my script with a red pen, kind of working on this other thing while I was on the set of Kong Skull Island. But by the time we were done with filming, I had become really good friends with Sam. He had become such a great, strong figure in my life. I mean, that was a very wacky period of time, and he was a mentor in many ways. And so then when it came time for me to make my feature, I was kind of scared about asking any of my friends to do it because I didn't want them to feel obligated to do it. And so there was a part that I really would have loved for him to play, but I was too afraid to say something. And he kind of caught wind that I was making this film, and we were towards the end of filming, and the next weekend he showed up and came into the trailer and was like, "Why are you trying to give my part to other people?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you would want to do this?" And he said he would. And he also said that he would go to the press junket, which I'm now going to use this radio show as a way to solidify that he did in fact say.
Okay, so let's just get that out there.
Yeah,
Samuel
Sam,
Jackson.
he will go to the press day.
He will do that. But that must be very exciting to not only to have your feature, but actually to have an actor of that. Who he's a movie star, by the way.
He is also.
Yeah.
I mean, he's undeniably a movie star, and he's also just incredibly dedicated. Like when he commits to whatever it is that he's going to do, it doesn't matter what it is. He is completely off book, like way before you start shooting, totally available for rehearsals, a great collaborator. A lot of things that people of that level don't have to be. You don't have to be so flexible, and he is, and I think that that's why I love watching his work, because he's so dedicated to it still.
We're hoping to have Ben Wheatley on the show in the next few weeks, and you're in his new movie, which is Free Fire. So there's another movie in which you are starring. So more evidence. What can you tell us about that ahead of Ben Wheatley coming on the show? Tell us about Free Fire.
Well,
it's another 70s film, I think.
It is, yeah. But a little later. I think it's 76. I know that because we made me and the rest of the cast. We had a Spotify playlist, but the game was that it could only be songs from the year that this film was being made. But Free Fire is great fun. It's about a gun deal that goes wrong. I mean, the basic idea is, can you do a transaction with a box of guns in the middle of the room, and can two groups of men, can they get through it without hurting each other in the process? Can they go through the whole process without actually opening up the box? And of course they can't. And I think that then it becomes this gruesome and hilarious situation where they're all trapped in this warehouse, and at any given moment they could all just let up, but they don't. It goes until the end. It's a battle to the death.
We appreciate your time. Brie, thank you very much indeed, and looking forward to, in fact, we didn't even get on to talk about Captain Marvel, but anyway, we appreciate your time talking about Kong Skull Island. Brie Larson, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.